YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So today this video is geared towards beginner nail techs. I'm going to upload another video that is at a more slower pace and actually shows a liquid to monomer ratio when picking up the beads. But just hopping right in, I have my practice hand here. Your practice hand should come with some extra nails like this. Here I'm just showing you guys that if you have trouble gluing the tips, you can just go right in and do an overlay. You can use these brown tips that's already on the nail as your nail tip. Just go in, follow it up, and follow along. Don't stress yourself out about gluing the nail tips on. I feel like beginner nail techs, when they get this hand, they waste a lot of time trying to glue the nails on. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you should be doing as well, especially if you're following along, is going in and clipping off the free edge. This is equivalent to if your client is coming to you and you're just evening up their natural nail, making sure their natural nail look presentable before you go ahead and add the artificial nail on. So during this video in particular, I won't be doing the thumb. I really don't teach on the thumb, just because I don't have time to be trying to get my students to turn the hand around and all, unnecessary nonsense. I always suggest practice the 4 fingers. So here I'm going in with the 80-80 grit file, or maybe an 80-100, and I'm lightly taking off the shine from the tip of the nail. Again, this is not something you want to overthink. Just go in and take the shine off the very tip where you will be gluing on the artificial nail. If you're a beginner nail tech and you watch a lot of YouTube videos, you're not going to watch just one person and figure out everything it is you need to know about doing nails. The advice that I give my students is watch a few people and pick and pull from their techniques to make them your own. I did it, and before I did that, I was struggling because I would watch like one particular person I would see on YouTube who did nails really well, instead of going in and trying to figure out what techniques individual YouTubers were doing that did actually work for me, and implementing them in my own process. So here I'm going in with a size 4. Another big tip: whatever nail you use on one of these nails is going to be the same size nail you use on all of them, because they all are the same size. They all the same size. So here I'm going in with a size 4. I went in with some glue. I glued it down, no problem. Here, same thing. Went in with some glue, holding it for like 10 seconds. Again, I notice it's not sticking. So what I'm going to do is take the tip of the nail and lightly dip it into my monomer, tapping off the excess, and then applying it back to my nail. I was pretty happy that with all 4 fingers really came out like they would if I was teaching. There are some issues sometimes gluing the nail on. Don't be discouraged. The tip with the monomer should work. Again, I need to go back in and dip. You guys see the first nail gave me no problem. The second and third, I needed some help from the monomer. Lastly, on the pinky, if you notice after the nail is glued on that you have some like open pockets, just go in and tap a little bit more glue on there. So here, the same thing. I went in with the method with the monomer, and it didn't work for me. The nail actually wouldn't stick. So if it don't work when you're doing the monomer, stop right there. Go in, refile, because you want to take some of that glue gook off. You want to dust away any dust. And I recommend going in with a new nail. Don't go back in with the nail that you tried to glue the first time. Now go in, same process, and it should stick with no problem. I'm going in with a little bit more glue for reinforcement. I was really tickled that literally all 4 of these nails, the impossible happened, and I was able to show you on camera. So a little trick that I like to do to really make sure that these nails don't come off is dip my brush lightly in my monomer and go over all 4. I promise you, when I say my nails do not come off, my student nails do not come off while we're practicing, because this is the step that I do. So if this is the part of nail learning that you're struggling with, try this method. Let me know down below if it helped you. But again, like I said, to me, it's really bulletproof when it comes to putting the nails on. So here, I like to teach my classes with stiletto nails. It's just easier to learn. It's easier to learn. I'm going in, the nail is already stiletto. I'm sharpening the sides up. Whatever you do on one side of the nail, you want to do on the other. When I started out, I had to count. If I filed 10 to 15 times on one side, I had to do the same thing on the other side. It's not going to steer you wrong. And then I'm lightly going over the top just to blend the nail tip in with the nail bed. Not too much. Again, this doesn't have to be seamless. It just has to, you know, blend. So that looks like that. And I'm going to go in and do the same thing through all the nails. So just a little disclaimer, because I know I'm going to have someone at the bottom of my video critiquing my application, critiquing my teaching. I'm not a know-all. I'm not a know-it-all. However, I do know enough to teach a beginner nail tech the basics of learning nails and to have them thrive. I've taught over 100 teens and adults, and they're all doing nails now, minus like 10 of those people. So with that being said, take what you want from my videos. Whatever you don't use, don't use. But I promise, if you are a beginner nail tech, especially someone who's never used acrylic before, or you just bought your products, this video or these videos that I will be posting will help you. So I wanted to say, like, a disclaimer. I work with wet beads, not beads that are so wet that I'm chasing. I always recommend, and I teach my students, not to pick up dry beads. If you're a beginner nail tech and you've ever put your monomer, your brush in monomer, and went to pick up your beads and went to put it on your nail and it wouldn't come off the brush, or you put it there and it was stiff, you couldn't blend it down, liquid to powder ratio is going to be something that will connect you to your journey. Once you get liquid to powder ratio, everything's going to be good. Here, we're already, we're going in for application. Again, I'm going to do additional video that is just geared toward liquid and powder ratio. That's coming up maybe next. So if this video is a little bit too advanced for you, I'm just showing you guys how I'm wetting my brush. If my brush is completely saturated, I'm just doing one pull off and going in with a bead. So this bead is going to self-level itself. Why? Because I have my nail pointed down. Whenever you have your practice hand, you want to make sure the nail is not sticking up, pointing to you. Gravity is going to do the job for you. This is why I like my bead a little moist. I don't have to do anything except guide the sides of the nail to ensure that it's no bulkiness. So if you guys see, that bead literally laid itself. Going in with another bead. Again, my beads are not soaking wet, but they are pliable. They're wet beads. They're beads that I'm able to manipulate. They're beads I'm able to stop tapping if I need to and look at what it is that I'm doing or what I need to do. So again, going in, and if you guys are paying attention, I'm just really cleaning up the sides. This look really good. Only thing I really have to do is go clean up that cuticle area if this is a client that I'm working on. But for the most part, this looked pretty good. This is why I like teaching with stiletto nails. I like to go in with 3 to 4 beads. Again, do not stress yourself about how many beads you're using. You do what you need to do to have your application and your technique good for you. So this is a 3rd bead that I'm going in. And again, you can see that the bead is not wet. I'm able to go in and I'm able to clean up the cuticle. Everything looked good. You guys do see me pinching the tip. I recommend doing that. You get a really nice, precise shape. But you notice I have a glove on my right hand. I don't recommend touching the product. You don't want to become allergic to it. And I'm just going to repeat the same thing. I have 2 fingers over there that are completed already. I don't know if I forgot to record that or what, but my apologies. Same step. Going in, you see I'm picking up, dropping down. And you'll know if your brush is too wet. You'll know if your brush is too wet. And your product is too wet. And if that's the case, you just lightly tap your brush on your napkin to take some of that excess liquid out, and then do the same thing. Work with the sides. Again, gravity is your friend. I have this nail pointed down, and the self-leveling in the product is doing the job for me. Just a quick shout out. I know a lot of people don't give her credit. I just saw where somebody was chopping her up on the internet, but nobody ever says it. I really learned how to do nails watching lovely Mimi do nails. I know, shocker, right? For me, I watched her videos just because they weren't so put together. They weren't like step one this, step one, or you want to do it. They were entertaining to watch. And in the process, I noticed she worked with wetter beads. And during this time, I wasn't working with wetter beads. So she do work with wet beads. If you go watch any of her videos, you'll be able to see that. And I kind of like adapted that process. And when I did that, it was just like, all right, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Because once I learned I was working with a wet brush, I learned how to decrease the moisture in my brush if I needed to. It's something that you really can't learn from someone else. You have to observe it and then actually get in the lab and pull out your monomer and powder and play with the product to see if what you're doing looks like what you're watching. And that's how I learned. I hope that made sense. But nonetheless, she's who I actually learned how to lay acrylic from. I haven't watched her nail videos in so long. I actually don't watch anybody nail videos right now, but I do suggest going and just watching some of her videos, despite anything that anybody might say about her. I really think she is an awesome nail tech, and I do credit her as someone that really, really stepped up the game for me. By the time I went to nail school, I already knew how to lay acrylic, and it literally was just from watching her videos. So I hope that helps someone. Again, watch a few videos. I don't suggest watching a whole bunch of different people, but watch like 5 or 6 people, and whatever techniques they're doing that you like, pull them and make them your own. Make them a part of your process. So again, these beads are laying nicely because 1, like I said, they're more on the wet side. 2, when it comes time to file, I'm not going to have to do much filing, but you do want to make sure, even though it's the practice nail, that you are practicing how to go in with your pencil. With your pencil. You practice how to go in with your brush with a light hand and clean up the cuticle area. You want to make sure you're doing that during your practicing stages, just for the simple fact you want to become used to it. The cuticle area is just about everything when it comes to actually working on a client. You want to make sure those cuticle areas are flush because we don't want nail lifting. So again, I don't know. I can't say enough. Practice. Whenever you have free time, after work, after school, on the weekends, you have nothing to do, practice. Practice is literally your best friend. So something that I want to put out there to you beginner nail techs or techs who have been working for 6 months and you're really not getting it, or even a year. I think my main problem, and this is what I tell my students the first day of class, please, I can't stress it enough. Stop trying to do designs. Stop trying to do art. That's going to come. You should really spend your first 6 months of doing nails, doing nothing but application. Nothing but application. And I promise you, you will build the foundation that you need to move on to art. Because I don't care how nice your nails look, if they don't last, people are not going to come to you for their nails. I have a student right now, 16 years old, that came to my class that I had in December. Has not touched art, has not took on paid clientele. She does her family nails. She can lay acrylic. Her foundation is the bomb. But now she's like, oh, but I don't know how to do art. And that's what everybody want me to do. Don't worry about that. Don't get discouraged. I told her, do what you need to do. And now that you have the foundation, you can go on Google. You can take some art classes to figure out how to do art. You can, get some stickers. You can use foil. But the key is you know how to lay a foundation. So don't ever make anyone make you feel bad because you don't know how to do art. Because believe it or not, a lot of people who are beginner nail techs, they set themselves back so much just by wasting time on art. And I'm somebody that did that. I slowed up my progress learning just because I was trying to buy everything that I saw on Instagram, everything that I saw on YouTube, everything I saw somebody using in a video. No, you don't need to do it at all. So here I'm just going in, as you guys can see, these beads, They are just like butter. In case I didn't mention it, I don't know, because I've been rambling a lot. I am using the Secert powder that I showed you guys in my beginning nail tech video that I will link down below. It's the video before this. So if you didn't watch it and you're interested in learning how to do nails, go back and watch that video. Secert is not going to steer you wrong. I am using Secert monomer, and I am using Secert powder. I have my own powders that I teach my class with, but I feel like it would be selfish of me to get on YouTube and show you guys the powders and you don't have them available to you. There's nothing wrong with using Secert. Again, don't stress yourself buying all these different powders, because they all work different. All the powders work different and all the monomers work different. Find yourself a universal powder and liquid, something like Secert, and don't steer from it right now, because you're learning the concept. So you need to become one with your product. You need to know how your monomer work. You need to know how your monomer work in different settings. If your environment is warm, if your environment is cool or cold, you're going to learn that just by using one product. So this is what they all look like. I like my nails to shine, so I'm just going over it with the leftover monomer on my brush, and voila, we really don't have much filing to do. This is what they look like. Pretty good to me. I haven't touched them with a file yet, but I am going to go in, and I do tell people, relax, let this hand sit for 10 minutes, clean your area up. You want to give the acrylic time to dry before you go in and file. So let your hand sit for 10 minutes, clean up all your monomer, your powder, put everything where it belongs. You see how my hands are positioned where I'm holding the nail. None of these nails pop off. But again, like I said before, whatever you do on the left side, you want to do on the right side. Key, important. You see how I'm filing underneath the nail? There's a lot of nail gunk under there. You guys can probably see it coming up. Even if you're working on a client, you want to make sure you go up under there and clean that out. It's nothing worse than going to the nail salon or going to get your nails done and leaving. And as the client, you have to turn your nails over and clean up some stuff that the nail tech should have cleaned. So again, I'm positioning my fingers on my practice hand so that I'm showing support. This hand is going to do what it needs to do each time. You just have to make sure you're taking care of it. Again, filing on each side. I don't have to file much because the application process was pretty good. So yeah, any questions you have for me down below, please put them. I will reply. So my goal is to make these videos, post them on YouTube, and then by the time I'm done, if anyone is like really interested, and maybe I can get together like a small group and do a Zoom, it will be for free. I just want to give back to beginner nail techs, just because, not that I think I'm the best, not saying that, but I want to give back because there are so many of you who don't know where to begin and don't know how to do nails. When I first started out, it was just like a lot of gatekeeping. That's what I felt. You couldn't comment on somebody's information without them saying inbox me, or they got a price list or something they're going to sell you. They'll sell you their list or their supplies for a price. Nobody got time for that. Each one teach one, and I always feel like my blessings come back in other ways. So again, I am nailed_by Shy. I'll try to put it on this video. Nailed_by SHY. I'm on Instagram. You can follow me over there. I rarely post, but I'm trying to get back into it. I already told y'all I work 2 and 3 jobs and I run a business. Like, life is life in me right now, but I literally have no complaints. This was on my bucket list for 2025, and I'm just getting to it. What is this? January, February, March, April. All right. I'm still late, but this was on my bucket list to reach back and teach nail techs that are not able to afford a class. So here I'm just going in filing. And after the file is the way I want, I do go in with a buffer. These look pretty good. Speaking of paid nail classes. All right. I'm probably going to catch a lot of hate for this. I do paid nail classes. I do individual classes, and I do groups of 10 on the weekend, certain months, the summer months and the fall months. Classes of groups of 10, that class, that's a group of 10, I do it on a Saturday and a Sunday, the same students. These are teenagers up to the age of 18, 12 to 18. Now, I do paid classes. However, I'm the paid instructor that once you pay me once, that's it. If you need to come sit with me and do whatever, we work on whatever. However, I don't suggest, how can I say this without contradicting myself? I don't suggest going and paying someone for nail class who does not offer follow up, if that means, if I'm saying that right. I don't offer going to a class where you're not able to follow up with your instructor. So if you are planning on attending a class that anyone is teaching, before you pay for it, ask them, what does it look like after I get done and I don't know, or I'm having trouble doing this? What does that look like for us? Do I have to pay you to teach me or what? Because if they say, yeah, well, you have to pay me or you got to take a refresher, that's not somebody you want to take a class with. Once you pay to take a class with somebody, you should be able to reach back and ask them whatever, or if you need to meet on Zoom to do whatever, that's something that they should do. So I don't want to say don't pay for classes, but just make sure you're paying somebody who is really in it for the education, who's really in it for you to learn the concept. I love looking back, or I love getting tagged, or I love getting text messages where someone sent a text message like, oh my gosh, Shy, they're saying they notice how well I'm doing the nails, or now people want to pay me. That right there is like why I do it. I want to be able to say I taught X amount of people how to do nails. They really know how to do nails. Call me, text me, message me whenever you want. That's my mindset if you took a class with me. So now that I rambled on about that, we're going to get back into the nails. Here, I'm just buffing it. You want to make sure you have a good buffer. I know it's a lot of little buffers out there, the little tiny ones. If that's all you have for right now, cool. But you do want to invest in some buffers. They don't cost a lot. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them at your local nail supply if you have one near you. But here, I just went in and buffed, and I did make sure I went underneath the nail. Again, underneath the nail cleanliness is like one of my pet peeves, and that's one of the things I teach. You want to make sure your client or your practice hand nails are clean underneath. You start that now. When you are actually doing people, that is something you'll continue to do. So this is what the nails look like. I am not going to design them with you guys because that's not why we're here. So in my thumbnail, there may be designs, but no, we're not going to do that. Here, I'm going in and I'm just wiping them down with a little bit of alcohol. You guys can see I'm tugging on these nails. None of them are sliding down, coming off the fingers. Make sure you invest in a good hand. Make sure you invest in a good hand. Make sure you invest in a good brush. Make sure you invest in good acrylic. This is what they look like after I bedazzled them a little bit. And then now I put the top coat on. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you're a beginner nail tech. Thanks for watching.